Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk specifically about Andrew Yang, labor, and what the film Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker, what actions that film prompts for Andrew Yang. All right, let's get into this. Before we go a step further, a spoiler warning. This content contains spoilers for Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this. All right. So first and foremost, before we go, we got to talk about what's been happening this week. This has been a truly incredible week. This week, just this week, we had 3 separate days, and in those 3 separate days, we had 3 incredibly separate states of State of the Union. You want to talk about State of the Union? We had 3 incredible states of the Union this week, right? So one day this week, Donald Trump was a normal president, right? Okay, air quotes on normal there. In that he was a president who had never been impeached. Only 2 presidents in the entire history of the United States of America had ever been impeached. Very uncool, weird group, right? Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, right? So that's day 1, okay, of this week. Next day happens, right? Oh my goodness, Donald Trump is impeached. Holy cows. Donald Trump now belongs to that very strange, weird little president group of Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. All presidents who were impeached, right? Day 2, very unique state, right? State of the Union. Day 3, right? I couldn't believe it. Day 3, literally the day after the impeachment, virtually every single person in the media came out and said, Donald Trump's impeached. Ain't going to mean a thing. It's almost as certainly he will not be removed from his presidency, and Donald Trump, just being Donald Trump, we all know he's going to wear this like a badge of honor. So this impeachment is really meaningless and at most a Pyrrhic victory. And I work in information technology, and things change on a dime. You have to constantly be retraining and keeping your skills tight. And it is challenging. It is really challenging being in information technology because things change so quickly. In politics, they seem to change faster. It is incredible how fast the state of things changes in politics. And I have much sympathy for people who are frustrated with the incredible pace of change in our times today, because it is incredible. Now I'm calling that out because guess what? I have a new opinion. I'm going to 180 on an opinion I had for the second time in 3 weeks, right? Now, that might seem shocking or surprising to you, but I'm realizing it's completely apropos because our world swivels on a dime now. Like, change happens so fast. It's amazing. All right, and this new understanding of labor has come to me because of the wisdom contained in the amazing, incredible film, 5 out of 5 stars, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Absolutely love the film. And this movie contains some very clear wisdom about American labor. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, so before we talk about what Rise of Skywalker illuminated for me, we need to talk about Warren Biden Sanders, okay? Warren Biden Sanders are an incredibly unique group of politicians. Like many politicians, they often say 2 things. They say one thing with their words, and they say a second thing with their actions. And guess which one speaks more loudly? We all know actions. They speak a lot more loudly than words. So what do Warren Biden and Sanders all say with their words, right? They all say work-life balance. We should have a balance between work and life, right? Their actions are a massively hard, significant, swift rejection of that, right? 100% rejection of it, right? What do Warren Biden and Sanders say with their actions, right? Let's take a look, all right? So about what do they say specifically about labor? Warren Biden and Sanders say some very specific things about labor. Before we talk about labor, I have to define the term, okay? It's another thing that changes really quickly today, right, is terms, words, language swivels on a dime, right? So we can't just use the term labor. We got to define it. What do I mean when I say labor? All right, well, there's an amazing film called Fight Club. One of the best things I've ever heard in my life comes from Fight Club. It says, people who work sitting down make more money than people who work standing up. 100% correct, right? Chuck Palahniuk wrote that line. That dude's a genius. He's 100% correct. That sentence explains America, right? People who work sitting down make more money than people who work standing up. That is 100% true. And it is also the reason I decided after getting my bachelor's degree that I should go get my master's degree. And I went and did that, right? And I found out that Chuck Palahniuk is absolutely correct, right? That is 100%. Do not think for a second that that is not true. All right, so labor, is it for people who work sitting up? Is labor people who work sitting down or people who work standing up? Well, it's all, right? Labor is people who work sitting down and people who work standing up and people who work sitting down and standing up, right? It is also all union jobs and it is all non-union jobs. Labor is all adults who work for money, period. That is the true definition of that. It's used differently in some corners of the Democrat Party. It shouldn't be. Labor is American adults working for money, period, right? Doesn't matter if you're union or non-union, doesn't matter if you work sitting down, doesn't matter if you work standing up. We respect everyone's labor. It's all labor. Okay, all right, so I've defined that term. Let's move forward. Okay, what do Warren, Biden, and Sanders say about labor with their actions? They have a lot to say, okay? Now, this is, if you take all their actions together, this is the Warren, Biden, Sanders statement on labor, right? Here we go. So one, work-life balance? No. Work resolve? Yes, right? Retirement is over. No, it's no longer an American tradition. Labor till you die, okay? Life events are meaningless. You work through them, including grieving, okay? The expected workload for 70 and 80-year-old people in America is 12 to 16 hours a day. Not just for 70-year-olds, for 80-year-olds as well, okay? That's what Warren, Biden, and Sanders are saying. That's what they're actually telling Americans, okay? That's their true stance. They say it with their actions, which speak a lot more loudly than their words. All right. Now, I have to admit, for 2 weeks, I really supported this position, right? Why? Why did I support this position? It is awesome, baller, American, aggressive labor energy. Love it. Come on. Bernie Sanders on his feet and laboring a week after having a heart attack, that is grizzly bear cool. No two ways about it. You got to give it, that's baller. Like, that is pure American. That's grit. Like, that is John Wayne cool, right? So I was down with this, right? But I'm going to admit to you, right, I got 3 positions now, right? 6 weeks ago, I was like, retirement is useful and retirement tradition is good for Americans, right? And then I saw Warren, Biden, and Sanders, and they're like, nope. Retirement is over. Labor till you die. Life events are meaningless. Labor through them. The expected workload for 70 to 80-year-old Americans is 12 to 16 hours a day. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Retirement's lame. That's for the weak and the lazy, right? So, and then I was really down with that for a minute. Well, guess what? Something changed. I have done a 180-degree change on my opinion of what Warren, Biden, and Sanders is. And now I'm against it. And I think they're wrong. Why? What changed? The Rise of Skywalker. I saw Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And now I truly understand American labor and what Warren, Biden, and Sanders, what their stance actually leads to. And it is not a good place, right? So let's talk about it. All right, what happened? What did I see in Rise of Skywalker that gave me this new understanding and gave me 180-degree flip from the position I held literally yesterday, right? Well, I'll tell you right now. Carrie Fisher, all right? Carrie Fisher is, of course, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, incredibly important people to me. I was in Savannah, Georgia. I was 7 years old when I saw Star Wars for the first time. That memory is imprinted on my brain and my heart. I could tell you I could tell you what the carpet looked like, what the wallpaper looked like. I will never forget it. Right? It's Star Wars is one of the most important things in my life. Right? Carrie Fisher, I have watched her since I was 7 years old. I've been a fan. Right? So Carrie Fisher is Princess Leia. She is the actress who played Princess Leia. Right? Now, Carrie Fisher followed exactly the example of that Warren Biden and Sanders is setting for every American now. Labor till you die. That's exactly what Carrie Fisher did. She labored till she died. Okay? But here's the kicker, right? And so, I was down with that yesterday, right? But now I have a different opinion, right? Now here's the kicker. Carrie Fisher died, and her labor did not end. What the heck? All right, let's get into this. Carrie Fisher, her role as Princess Leia was massively expanded in Rise of Skywalker. Her role in Rise of Skywalker is significantly expanded from what it was in Last Jedi. Okay? So, Carrie Fisher labored rigorously in Rise of Skywalker, doing exactly the same acting work she did in Last Jedi. But in Last Jedi, the work she did there, Carrie Fisher was alive. In Rise of Skywalker, the work Carrie Fisher did, Carrie Fisher was dead. She labored past her death. This is the new expectation. This is where Biden, Warren, and Sanders are taking all of us. That labor until you die is not enough. You must labor beyond your death. And I will tell you right now, it's too much. I saw this. So Warren, Biden, and Sanders, they set the example of retirement is over, labor till you die. Now, Rise of Skywalker is setting the example that not even death releases an American from labor. Rest in peace is for internationals, but not for Americans. We don't get to rest in peace. It is too much. It is too far. And so it is my opinion that Andrew Yang needs to be the truth speaker. That's one of the things that happened in this last debate. People looked at Yang and they go, he's the only person on that stage speaking truth. Right? Amen to that. Absolutely true. Right? He's the only real truth speaker, and he needs to speak truth now. I think that Andrew Yang should say the following. Andrew Yang needs to call out the danger of the Warren, Biden, Sanders retirement is over, labor till you die stance. And he needs to call out that they are threatening retirement as a tradition for Americans. They are threatening to allow Americans to rest when they turn 66. They are threatening work-life balance, and they are paving a road to call every American to labor even beyond the grave. It is too much to ask. We are incredibly aggressive. We have high energy. We have a lot of type A's in America. But asking people to labor even beyond death is too much. And what Warren, Biden, and Sanders is doing, the example they are setting is outrageously selfish and outrageously dangerous, because this is where it leads. When I see Carrie Fisher being required to labor beyond her death, it is too much. She acted in this film. She's right there. She's doing exactly the same work she did in The Last Jedi. She's dead. And guess what? I guarantee you that work was paid. That work was paid. Who got the money? Carrie didn't, right? It's too much. It is too much. And Warren, Biden, and Sanders, they are saying retirement is over, work till you die, and guess what? We are paving the road for work even beyond death. And it is too much. And I think Andrew Yang needs to call it and say, this is it. Warren, Biden, Sanders, you can't do this. And I think Andrew Yang should say to Warren, Biden, Sanders, to preserve retirement as an American tradition, you, Warren, you, Biden, you, Sanders, should drop out of this race. period. Okay? Now, let me be super clear. Andrew Yang should not call for a law that would stop anyone who is over the age of retirement from running for president. I would not support that law in any way, right? That's not needed. Andrew Yang doesn't need that to end this threat to retirement, this threat to retirement benefits, this threat to rest for Americans, right? All he needs to do is just say to Warren, say to Biden, say to Sanders, and I think this really would work. Every single one of you are leaders. You, as a leader, you know the importance of selflessness. You know the value of retirement, and you know that the example you are setting, saying that the American tradition of retirement should die and that Americans should labor till death, is selfish and dangerous, and that the need for you, Warren, you, Biden, you, Sanders, to be president of this nation is not worth the incredibly valuable tradition of retirement, of rest, and of rest in peace. I think it's incredibly important that Andrew Yang be the first truth speaker, be the first to call Warren, Biden, and Sanders to back away from the incredibly selfish, destructive road they're leading this country down. Retirement is valuable, rest is valuable, and rest in peace, frankly, I would say it's sacred. It's too much to ask Americans to labor beyond death. And that is exactly where what Warren, Biden, and Sanders is doing leads. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter. Let me know in the comments below. Please, thank you for hearing this today. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.